Wow, I timed that perfectly, in fact.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you people, to everyone who is participating in our community meeting for Oplerno. I'm Rob Skiff, the founder and CEO of Oplerno. I'm located in Burlington, Vermont. It's a beautiful sunny day, and here is Daniel Crompton, who will introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Daniel Crompton. I'm the the director of technology for Oplerno, and very exciting to be here and to be able to talk to you again, speak to you. Fantastic. And we have a lot to talk about this session, I think. A lot of really interesting developments that we want to share with you, and of course we want all your feedback. So we have the comments set up in our. You can comment to the post that we posted on Google Plus, and you can comment on YouTube. We're following Twitter as well. So if you tweet to us on at Oplerno, or you add a hashtag Oplerno, then we'll be able to see those messages as well. And of course, you can comment on Facebook. But we prefer you to use the other methods. That's easier for us to consolidate everything. And I think it's questions@oplerno.com that they can email their questions to. Robbers?
Yep, and Daniel is located in Amsterdam, and then somewhere in the internet is Daniel Kirk, who is our Director of Operations and Faculty Support, and he is also located in the land of the hobbits in the Shire, Burlington, Vermont. So what we're going to do is the agenda is pretty simple. We're going to talk a little bit about. Let me pull it up. We had to reboot the computer. I had to reboot my computer because we were having microphone problems. Okay, and let me just pull up the meeting and the agenda. So we're going to talk about course and degree development, what's been happening, and then we're going to take a look at our marketplace program. Daniel's going to talk about that, and then we're going to discuss admissions. At any time, please feel free to interrupt us with questions. And without further ado, let's get to it. So why don't we start with Daniel? Why don't you show the biggest thing that we've been doing the last month, besides getting our approval, which is just now we're 5 weeks in. Is been finishing up the marketplace program, and we're really excited about that. Daniel has done an amazing job getting that up along with Dan Kirk, but Daniel's been a real miracle worker, because the when I was coming up with the budget for Oplerno, we thought the marketplace was going to cost, and I got bids for over $100,000 to do this work, and Daniel has done it for a whole lot less. And it's spectacular. So here's Daniel, and he'll walk you through the marketplace program.
Okay, so this is the marketplace the way it exists now. You can see we have it on enroll.oplerno.com.
Attached to our website, so you can go to the website, and if you click on enroll, it'll send you straight to the marketplace program.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Robert. So we've as Rob said, we filled out a lot of the marketplace with the courses that have been developed on and are under development on Canvas by Instructure. And we've we're synchronizing them here, so you can actually see a lot of the so you can see and bid on or enroll in a class. One of the main things that we're focusing on now, even though we've released it in this beta form, is on filling a lot of the data that we have on Canvas into here. A lot of the data can't be exchanged easily, or it needs to be adjusted so that it will actually fit properly onto the marketplace page for the course. So, but there are a number of things that can be set up within the marketplace, such as the introduction to the course, what the course syllabus is. Now, whether it's an outline or a full syllabus is, of course, depends completely on you, as you're able to fill it in for yourself. Images, instructors, the ability to contact an instructor if you have questions before you start the course, or during the course, or at the end of the course, especially for people who are on the fence about whether they want to join, that they can actually get into contact. We're slowly adding subject fields, subject areas to it, and of course specific skills that you're going to be learning within this. And we've added a lot of these things already previously, and I've talked about them previously as well, of course.
The biggest thing I think that with the marketplace program, if you click on the course, or you click on Daniel, can you just click on my class for a second?
Yeah, of course.
And
just the right way.
When you click on the instructor, okay, you can contact them. But when you're looking at courses and what you want to take, we really want people to be looking at both the skills you're learning in the class, but also the instructor. And there's a whole lot of new information that students and faculty have. For example, if you click on the instructor, okay, you'll also be able to take a look at a little biography. But then if you go down, and we're going to be working on the graphics of this, the academy.edu or the LinkedIn, and you click on those buttons, you click on those links, up will pull the link to academia.edu, the CV, the papers that someone's written, and it's just really important that not only do you look at the class, but you look at the instructor. Make sure that the instructor has maybe written about different subjects, that the instructor is going to meet your learning, the same kind of learning needs and learning patterns. So we're going to spend the next several weeks with our courses filling in that marketplace, because that's really where people get together and they make the decisions. And the program is, Daniel called it in beta, but all the functions are there in terms of being able to pay for the classes. We're going to be working on different ways to search through our database, whether it's searching by skills, whether it's searching by the instructor or the class. And so as our courses, as the number of courses increases, we're going to have a much bigger catalog and a much larger group of skills and things for people to learn and to really find the exact course and exact professor that that you want to take the class in. And I see a question just popped up. Okay, how do we set, Daniel, on the questions page, there's a message just came through, and we should probably take these questions and you can answer them. The first one is, how do we set start dates for each course?
Well, technically, of course, it's it's reasonably easy to set up the start dates for a course. I'll take my own course as an example. So, I have an example course in here. As you know, I don't teach orbital mechanics, but I have an example course. So there's an edit button at the bottom. So you can actually edit your complete course, and in here you can set a start date. This is, of course, in combination. The course will become the course is active from as soon as it comes into the marketplace. But of course, this course date is best set or after a discussion with either Rob or Dan to actually see when the optimal time is for you to set the start of the course dates. I mean, setting it for tomorrow is going to guarantee that you're not going to get enough students in, for example. So setting it for 3 weeks, giving you ample time so that the number of students can build up to a level whereby you're satisfied that the course is filled. So this can be done in here, and of course here also your fee. You can modify your fee as well in here. At the moment, we have it's reasonably easy to set the fee. You can set it to any number that you want. We want to actually make sure that you try to keep it at a reasonable level. Of course, I think there are advice prices which Rob and Dan have spoken about before.
Right. There's another question. Another question is, how do I set a minimum number of students that must be enrolled in the course? I would put that under the course description. Right, that is a feature that we're going to add to the marketplace. If you want to check out our list of features that we're adding, check out GitHub and look up Oplerno, and Daniel can send you a link to that, or we'll post a link. But right now we don't. Go ahead.
Well, I'll comment on that, especially for the launch this week, because we want to have it everything nice and working, so that I will be able to have 5 days off next week. Things such as the maximum amount of students that can enroll, reasonably small features like this. On the back end, we already support a lot of these features, so we can already no more than 25 students can enroll, for example, in your course. There has to be a minimum of one the course has to have at least one student in the course for it to become fully functional before it starts sending certain data towards Canvas. So there are certain elements which are already in there, but for you to be able to fine-grainedly tune this for your own course, this is going to take a little bit more work. And one of the issues added to that is, of course, that if you look at the amount of things that we already have of options which you can fill in, it's growing, and it's going to probably grow more and more as time goes on. So we want to also make sure that it's as clear as possible for people what they can fill in, what are things that they should fiddle with at the outset of creating their course or modifying their course on here, and what are the things that they should really discuss or read into or have a proper look at and examine before they actually start changing things for themselves.
And going back to your question, I would setting a minimum number of students. For right now, since we're just starting, I think it's really important that you are able to teach a course. You feel good about teaching a course that may have like 5 students in it, or potentially 3, depending upon the subject material. But we're going to be adding again. We'll add that feature a little bit later on. As long as you put that in the course description, that's fine. Even if students, remember, if a student pays for a class, enrolls in that class, but then you, because of the numbers, decide not to run it, we give the students a full refund. All of the money that students send us for tuition and for registering a class is kept in a separate account, which is not the same as our operations account, so they're guaranteed a refund a little bit later on. You had another, the writer had another 2 questions. The third one is, I'm proposing a certificate program. How do I set up courses so that there is a prerequisite, i.e. an intro to business, before you take advanced innovation?
Is this Michael Benson, for perhaps?
Nope.
Because Michael Benson asked this question a long time ago as well, I think.
Right. We're going to be working on that potentially with the marketplace, but that gets quite complicated. So what we're going to want to do is, that's something on our end that we're going to be keeping track of. When a student enrolls in your class, you can also double check with them to make sure that they have taken the Intro to Business course that you're offering, or an Intro to Business course that someone else is that meets your prerequisites. But we want you to do that kind of on an individual basis, and keep track of that also yourself for your own, as you're developing the certificate programs. We're developing the ability to keep track of that internally, but for right now, and also since we don't offer any certificate programs quite yet, that isn't an issue, but we're developing those skills not those skills. We're developing that infrastructure right now. Number 4, your question was, if you upload a video, can you prevent students from fast forwarding through to the end? On Canvas, in your teacher desktop, you can keep track of students and their total how many videos they've watched and how long they've spent on each video. So it's going to be, I'm not sure you can prevent students from fast forwarding to the end if you're watching a video on Canvas, but you can certainly know if they have actually watched the video fully if you take a look at the admin screen on your class. Okay.
I think Patricia's comments on Twitter also feeds into this. She asks, the course proposal which I submit is intended to introduce a series of classes. So can the series be linked together?
I don't see why not. Why, if you have a series of classes, and I think Patricia is talking about, I remember her proposal, and that's not going to be a problem for the certificate program or the degree program that you're developing. Yeah, we're going to be able to do that. Okay, so we can link them all together. Great, thank you guys very much for the questions. Let me go back to the agenda. Anything else that you wanted to talk about in terms of the marketplace? Do you want to show, just quickly show people the GitHub, or shoot out the, shoot out the. Oh, if you have a bug or a suggestion, you can also email those to bugs@oplerno.com. Okay, so if there's a feature that you want added, email it to that address, and we'll deal with that as soon as we can. Do you guys see Dan sending us a message? Do you guys see the questions I'm posting on Podio?
Yes. Well, this was one of the Twitter questions that you posted on Podio was Patricia's one. That's why I mentioned it. Thank you, Dan, for being so.
For being so thorough, like you always are, which is important, keeping us on track. What's your? I'm going to deal with the marketing question a little bit later, so let's just deal with the marketplace issues right off the bat.
Yeah. So for the as Rob rightly said, we have a place, we have GitHub where you can add your issues if you have any issues that you need to have addressed. And by sending them to bugs at GitHub, you can get them reviewed. Everything comes straight live, so sent straight into GitHub. So remember that it's all publicly accessible data.
Joe, I got your question. I'm going to talk about that a little bit during admissions. So let's just deal with Dan right off the bat. Daniel, I mean. Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh no. I'm pretty much done now. I think that's over to you again. Okay.
So let me talk to you guys a little bit about the courses and the degree development. So right now, I've gotten about 8 proposals for certificate or degree programs, and they're in various stages of development. So I'm starting the process of creating the application for certificate and degree granting authority for the state of Vermont. That's a process that really is dependent upon faculty. I have been working on those plans since even before we started to do the approval application. That was part of the steps that I was building with the dealing with in terms of the business development. But what I said back in the past still holds true, is that I'll submit the application once we have 5 really good degree granting or certificate proposals set. And once those are completed, and there's plenty of good materials and documentation in terms of the courses that have been developed, etc., we will submit that. Now, if you go to, I'm going to do something that is quite scary for everyone I work with, which is I'm going to share my desktop for right now. Okay, so there's Dan. So what we've done in terms of negotiating or navigating starting to navigate the accreditation and approval piece is creating a wiki, which is, as you can see from the screen, at oplerno.wikispaces.com. And this is a place where we can not only is that ability on Canvas, but I also wanted to make this publicly available to everybody on the internet so that they can take a look and comment on our process and keep that notion of transparency for everyone, for students, faculty, and interested community members. And so what we've done is I created initially a very small page here that talks about how we're committed to being a degree granting accredited institution, and about the the steps we need to accomplish before we apply. And so you'll see that, you know, between 2 and 5 certificate programs, and between 3 and 5 undergraduate degree programs of 120 credits in length. So with what we've got now, you know, that piece has been set, but we've got to have those programs completed. Develop the core and general education curriculum. This is where I really want to push using this wiki as a form of discussion on what qualifies as general education. Are there certain classes that we want to offer altogether in terms of creating the core? And then developing the advising protocol, which I will announce sort of at the next meeting, at the next community meeting later this summer, about how we're going to handle student advising. And so that's where we're starting out. And then, of course, there's a section that says certificate and degree development guidelines. Okay, and you can check out this wiki page here in terms of what we need for undergraduate, the basic categories for undergraduate degrees in terms of the Vermont Department of Education, and then also for graduate degrees, because people are very interested in potentially creating master's degree programs. So I am in discussions with a few places to create and I found space that maybe we can create some kind of seminar or week-long working project that we can do both in person and also remotely, because we know that not everybody is interested or can afford to travel up to Vermont and work with us face-to-face. But what we're going to do is create a way for us to all get together and really hash out some of these, some of the requirements, and maybe ways in which we can share you know, some of the prerequisites for the classes. But basically, look, if you're interested in developing a certificate or degree program, start developing it and get together your dream team. And this wiki is a way to start the process of conversation in that. Whoops. Am I still live? I hope so. Okay. So let me shoot an email, because Oplerno has dropped for a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unshare the screen. Daniel dropped off. You're still going. That's from Daniel Kirk. Okay. That's good to know. Okay, so that's a basic outline of the course degree and development program. We're also we have an individual who's been working with Oplerno for the past year, who's starting the conversations now with a province in the People's Republic of China, and we're also starting the outreach now with Ecuador to get recognition and approval there, which will be which will be good. Again, we don't want to just rely on the states. And then I've also started the process of looking at how we would go about getting EU accreditation. So right now, we passed our 100 courses have been proposed, and that's an amazing thing after really launching the marketplace last month. And that the first year, our goal in terms of the business plan and becoming sustainable, self-sustaining economically, was that we needed to have 100 courses that had been proposed by actually December of 2014. Well, we've hit that mark. Now what we need to do is spend our time converting those proposals into real courses that we can list on the marketplace. And that, if you're a faculty member, the more we have in terms of the catalog, the better off we are in terms of that network effect. We have 4 really interesting courses right now. One taught by me, and I think it's going to be a fun and interesting course. But the value of Oplerno is in our network, and in our network of faculty and the courses and the degrees and the programs that we're developing. So the more that get converted from that are ready to roll and that people can run, the more interest we're going to attract in terms of both admissions, interest of potential students, and also interest of building in more faculty members. So again, if you've made a proposal for your class, please start working on it. The sooner we can, the sooner it gets completed, the sooner we can review it, and the sooner we can have that offered on Marketplace and really start doing the recruitment that we want to do. Now, there was a couple of Joe Morrissey, Dr. Morrissey asks, hi, how are your efforts going to recruit to create transfer credits with universities? I think this is a critical element in the development of your service. You're absolutely correct, it's critical. We've met with a few colleges in Vermont who've expressed interest in working with us. It's very difficult to target universities because we don't know where our students are coming from. Okay, and so if a student, if you go back onto our wiki site, I'll show you this in a second. If our students come from a particular university, we've got all the documentation that's needed for a registrar or a faculty member or a committee to look at a course to see whether it meets those prerequisites. But it kind of is a bit of a waste of our time to go willy-nilly asking universities to join up with us and accept our credits. If a university comes to us and wants to talk about creating some kind of agreement, we're doing that. I am reaching out to some just to get the ball rolling. But it's going to be a little bit slow going until probably later on in the summer. But transfer agreements with universities are something we're really interested in and something we really want to do. We've certainly got all the the syllabi and the data for them to look at, but it's going to go a little slow for right now. Do you have any suggestions for recruiting students? This is Joe, a question from Dr. Morrissey again. The only students I know are the ones I teach at the university where I am on faculty. I wouldn't feel comfortable recruiting them away from this university for my own purposes. Probably not a good idea if you are an instructor to do that. I think you'd end up getting in a little bit of a jam ethically. Here are our suggestions for recruiting students. I'm going to do the scary thing and share my screen one more time. Okay. Desktop, share screen. Here we are. There's Daniel. And we go to the wiki, and we've created a short guide for faculty to recruit students. Now, I'll talk a little bit about marketing later, But for right now, a lot of our marketing in terms of faculty recruiting students is, we're relying a little bit on you guys to get the word out that you're working with Oplerno. Okay, becoming a faculty member here, developing your own courses. So we'd like you to, if you take a look at this link, we want to announce on your social media accounts like Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Tumblr that you're teaching a class with us, and include a link to your class to the marketplace. So if your class is completed, or even if it's not and you've just got some materials up there, create the link and get the word out. Hey, I'm teaching at Oplerno. This is the course I'm teaching. Reach out to your former students about your course. If they liked your teaching style, then they might want to take another class with you. And we'd like you to send out a press release. Send out a press release to the local media. We've got one at oplerno.com, faculty press release, and you can modify it to suit your needs. And talk us up. Engage your network of contacts. We're doing all we can to get the word out on our end. Okay, but we're not going to spend money on, for example, posters on buses in particular locations. I mean, this is a global university, and so what we've got to do is really rely on free media and social networking for that initial push to get the word out about people's classes. And the most important thing about recruiting students, if you're a faculty, is your ethics. Okay? So we don't want you, please remember, if you're a tenure-track professor at another university, I'd be circumspect about recruiting your students to take the course, like Dr. Morrissey said. You also have to make sure you don't promise students that they're 100% guaranteed that they'll be able to transfer their credits to another institution. And I'll show you this page in terms of admissions and enrollment. We really want students to get permission to take one of our classes sometimes even before they've paid for it. Okay, so for example, if a student wanted to take an intro, if they wanted to take my class and they were an education major, or they were in a doctoral program, we'd want them to go and talk to their advisor and the registrar to make sure that they can transfer those credits. We do not want to be part of getting students more deeply into debt. So treat the potential student with the utmost respect, and remember that these aren't your customers, they're your students, and so these students are your responsibility, and your job as a teacher is to guide them to the best solution for them that they can afford. It's not to fill your class or sell, okay? And it's our belief at Oplerno that if you concentrate on the needs of the students, then your long-term needs are going to be met, and you will fill your classes because you're going to get the good reviews. You're going to be known as a very ethical, upstanding teacher, and long-term, this is going to be a very good and stable business, good and stable source of income for you. So yeah, check out the wiki. And again, the beautiful thing about the wiki is you can comment, you can post, you can even edit. Anytime the wiki changes, I get a notification, so I can make sure that people aren't writing up things that are contrary to sort of the mission and goals of Oplerno. But we want this wiki to be a place where we generate policy proposals and where we really improve our mission. Now, you can also check out on the wiki guidelines that we're creating in terms of a step process. If you're a student, and if you're a faculty member, you might want to take a look at this in terms of sort of a process of working through the ability to transfer this course to another institution to meet a degree requirement at that place. And so there's a part for traditional students, and then of course, Oplerno with all the skills and these classes, they're not just for the 18 to 21-year-olds. They're for anybody who wants to improve their professional skills and ability, and so there's also a section in on that. Mike, okay. Mike is in Thailand going to Bangkok. I would love to get some really good pad thai right now myself. So thanks, Mike, for sending us a message. Okay, how does a course that is approved? This is from Kim Kozian, and I probably butchered your pronunciation, so I apologize ahead of time. How does a course that is approved get in under the development category? What we do is you create your class, and Dan Kirk takes a look at the proposal, and I take a look at the proposal, and then we put it in the under development category. And then, of course, you have access to Canvas. Now, just because it's under development doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be approved by us. It has to meet a bunch of different criterion depending upon your discipline. So I hope that answers your question. I'm still sharing. Thank you, Dan. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, see, that's why I'm not allowed to screen share very much.
Ever,
as Dan. Okay. Yep. And I will stop. Am I done? Am I not screen sharing now, I hope?
Yeah, you're clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, let's go back to the questions. I believe you will find, this is from Joe again, I believe that you find going to the state university systems would be a good strategy. I totally agree. The state systems are great, Joe. It's just going to take us a little bit longer to start that networking. I mean, these are great suggestions, but we have a limited amount of people who are working for us, and we have limited amount of time and are trying to take care of so many different things. Our velocity is going really well, but yeah, we need to spend a little bit more time reaching out to other universities, and we'll be doing that. But we also want to make sure that the marketplace works well, and most importantly, that the classes that we're going to be offering are of high quality as possible. Denise has sent a couple of messages. Let me see if she's got a question.
Yeah, just want to say in between, sorry about if I'm having some technical difficulties, so I seem to be dropping
No problem. No problem. Patricia Peters writes about, Patricia Peters is writing about an online class on kitchen management skills, and is reaching out to different people to get a listing of those. Patricia, when we talk about skills, we're also potentially talking about content areas, okay? And those content areas can also be kind of listed as, we put them under the skills piece because we want people at the end of a class to be able to apply a theory or do something, not just have read about something, the whole notion of praxis. So yeah, anything you can do in terms of clarifying that and helping us with that piece is great. Okay. What drives students to the Oplerno website? What's your marketing strategy for students? Right now, it's this is Jerry. Jerry, right now it is mainly that networking, that word of mouth, the whole idea of getting our name out on different free media, and then from there finding some things that are that will stick, and building. Each month and each week we're finding the traffic to our website is increasing. Right now, the June the May and June times are pretty slow in terms of recruiting students, but we have had 5 applications, and so 5 people who've taken a look at the website. Our marketplace now is really up and running and works very easily, so that's also going to help improve our traffic. But we really need faculty to also get out and say, look, is Oplerno something that you that you like? Do you like working with us? Does this give you the kind of academic freedom that you want? Is there the potential for you to make a good living with Oplerno rather than going the traditional adjunct faculty route? And we think those answers are yes. And so that's going to, if you like us, spread the word, and that will help drive the traffic. Okay. Oh, Kim, your follow-up, your course was approved, and I've been creating my course for about a week, and it's not under the development list. We've had a real influx of courses that are going to be that are under development right now, and so we'll put yours up. We'll put yours up soon.
Today I'll make sure that it's up.
Okay, and Dan will make sure it's up today. Okay. Let's see. Got some more questions.
Yeah, of course, it's also for things of a technical nature. Questions such as this, of course, you can direct to us at the bugs, and that's info@Oplerno. But you can also contact us directly on Twitter if you have a question why you're not showing up. We're very responsive with our communication, so you can always contact us, and we'll find it and reply to you and make things happen for you.
Okay, Michelle. Dr. Levita, Michelle, if I'm butchering your name, I apologize. You sent a question about books. Is it okay if I have them use books? Absolutely. I'd like them to use The Prince and the Art of War, as well as a small book of collected works that I'm compile. We want you to develop and design the course that you're really happy with the resources and materials that you're happy with. If there's a cost for something, the only thing we ask that you do is you make that very clear to students when they're signing up for your class. But again, you should take advantage of the resources that we've written about and connected on our Canvas faculty faculty orientation course. There's a wonderful website called Connections, CONEXIONS, or some derivation of that, which is a free online textbook website. Remember that our goal here is to offer students the best possible class at the lowest possible cost, where you all also make the most amount of money as possible in your course. And so the higher priced textbooks that you use may create a barrier for some people to be able to take your class. And also remember that the market, the students that we're trying to reach aren't just in the United States, they're also overseas. They're also, outside of North America. And you want to make it easy for them to also get the materials. So if you can access them online, that's great. But if you need a few books, that's fine. But just be, understand that that's kind of the constraint that you're under. Okay. And great. Any questions that I'm not hitting, guys? That I'm not getting?
Well, we're seeing a lot of questions in that on YouTube and also in other places that for the links that we have to the wiki and all the other side things that we're mentioning. And I just want to say that we have them in YouTube, we have them in the course description. So probably when you refresh the page at the end, if you don't want to miss anything, you'll see all the URLs appear there in the course description. So don't worry, you did see it, and we have put the URLs up for you.
Hey, is my camera working or not?
Yeah, you're looking beautiful as usual, Robin.
Okay, because the screen was black. I'm still getting. Yeah, boy, it is really a crazy thing to have a meeting with everybody everywhere, and multiple sources of information coming in on questions, etc., which makes things fun.
Interesting.
But also, creates a bit of chaos. Any more questions that people have?
Let me check.
Yeah, there are a
especially
few
on
on
the
Podio. I've posted in our chat on Podio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from thanks you.
Got one from.
Yes, sir. No, go further.
Go ahead. If you find ones that I haven't answered, just shoot them to me, please. Or not shoot them, but interrupt me and I'll answer them.
Okay. No, I've seen a number of questions here, but I think you've answered a number of them, or at least you've in your conversation you answered a number of them. So about marketing initiatives, about the transfers, about recruiting students. I think most of these have been answered already.
Steve Palmer has a great question. It says, what do you think the competition with other online universities will be like? Steve, that's a great question. I kind of go back to when people ask me about competition. If you're from sort of the Northeast and you're living in the United States or in North America where the population of school-aged people is dropping, you get really, really concerned potentially about the competition, about people competing for students. And what's really interesting is many of the online programs, in terms of the course cost, they do cost a lot more actually than Oplerno does, and they don't offer the kinds of, they're not going to be able to offer the diversity of the classes or the level of discovery that people are going to have in terms of being able to look at the professor, the syllabus, the cost, the skills that you learn in that course. But the biggest piece is that, as I was talking with the college president in Vermont last week, and he was bringing up the same issue. I said, it's not like ignorance is in low supply on the planet. Okay, right now while North America's population is falling, in a lot of places in the world, the population of 18 to 30-year-olds is large, and the amount of people entering the middle class is increasing everywhere, but in the United States and in North American places in Europe. So I don't think we have much to worry about if we concentrate on that student-teacher relationship, and if we open ourselves up to interacting globally and really having as open a system as possible. I think then Oplerno is going to grow quickly, and what we need to make sure is though that the quality is there. So I'm not too concerned. There's plenty of room for everybody to enter this education space, and I don't think we need to be concerned about about that piece. I hope that answers your question. Just gonna look through. Dan, we seem to be having issues with some of our connections. Okay. I'm going to go to Podio to check if there's anything more. Okay. If you've got a follow-up question, why don't you shoot that to me? Otherwise, I think what we'll do is close up the meeting for today. I hope our update was helpful. please remember that you can always shoot myself, Rob Skiff, a question or a message at skiff@oplerno.com. You can also send questions that you might have to questions@oplerno.com. And remember, Dan Kirk and Daniel Crompton and I were always there to make sure that you, in terms of faculty or students, your needs are being made. Okay, and we're really excited to please remember, we've been in existence, okay, really all fully running as an educational institution now for a little over 5 weeks, and that is nothing. And think about the fact, again, we've got 100 courses under development, a bunch of different degrees, degree programs under development, and things are moving along very quickly. Okay, we've got another question. Good meeting, informative meeting so far, thank you. When a student has technical issues with Canvas, etc., how will the student be supported? Two ways. One is they'll be able to contact us if there's a support issue, but they'll also be able to contact Canvas for support, and we'll be able to handle, between the two of us, we'll be able to handle any particular thing that comes up. Okay. Here's a message that just got sent to me. I just finished a French course. They offered me a course this fall. I said no. Tired of working hard for peanuts. Have you developed a language component? Language or culture? We've got a lot of people who are developing courses in a particular culture courses on particular cultures. Why don't the person who sent me that question, why don't you shoot me an email? Again, it's skiff@oplerno.com. What we found with people who want to teach courses in other languages is, I think the intro space, teaching a person a language, there are lots of really good ways now at low cost for people to start learning and developing language skills. I think what might be interesting is, why don't, if you finished a French course, why don't you offer the course in French on a particular subject? And when you do that, we'll probably be able to find those particular students. But why don't you shoot me an email, and I'll be able to answer your question more fully. But remember, Oplerno supports almost any language issues. Oplerno offers support in a lot of languages, and we can offer the courses in Portuguese, Arabic, Chinese, all kinds of great languages, rather than just offering them in English. Rebecca Armstrong sends out a question. Have you worked out financial issues around offering courses to international students? Financial issues in terms of them making transfer payments to Oplerno, paying for their classes, that's all set. Marketplace supports that, and our payment system via PayPal via PayPal supports that. If you're talking about financial aid, right now Oplerno is not going to offer financial aid either to American or international students. However, if an international student wants to take a course with us and can't afford to, they can approach the professor, and if the professor offers them a discounted tuition to take that class, then Oplerno will match that percentage. So if you're a faculty member, remember you get 90% of the tuition revenue you generate. If you were to say to the student, oh, you can't afford the $500, but you can afford the $200, so you've discounted that tuition by 80%. Well, we'll discount our fees. We won't charge that $100 or 10%. We'll charge, in that case, we charge $20, and we would charge only the fees we needed to make up our infrastructure costs, which in this case is just your Canvas, the Canvas subscription for the student. Okay, so it's a case-by-case basis. Okay. All right. Have another Debbie Ash send something. Oh, Deb, thank you very much. She says that she's been in touch with local adult ed students who cannot afford the bigger universities but would like to continue. Yeah, that's kind of our desire too, is to create a space where people can continue their degree, where people can find a much lower cost alternative that's going to meet their needs. And so thanks for doing that. That's exactly the kind of thing we want faculty to do, help build our network with us. Remember, you guys are stakeholders, and you're the treasure of this institution, and we want you to get out there and mix it up and spread the word. Okay, Rebecca says, I guess I meant the problem of U.S. money being dominant. Could Oplerno work out deals that bring in student loans from that student's government? Rebecca, that's a really interesting idea, but God, I mean, entering that field of student loans is kind of a little bit contrary to our mission. Okay, student loans in the States are debilitating for people, and what we've got to do is come up with ways to create lower cost, high quality alternatives, and we think we've done that. Well, we know we've done that with our business plan and our business model. When you're talking about student loans from that student's government, we're really going to work hard to make sure that the classes are affordable across different countries. So we're not going to, it's hard enough working within educational bureaucracies in terms of just getting approval. I don't even want to think about the, one thing that drives up the cost of education is all of the mandated reporting that happens once you accept student loans. The infrastructure that you have to have, which drives up costs also. So what we're probably going to avoid that, 100%. I am working with a couple of individuals to create a foundation that will be able to fund students via scholarship, potentially, but that's a ways off. That's probably 6 months to a year off, and that may create a whole different kind of way for people to get help in their education. But I do not like making people pay for their education via student loans. It's debilitating. Later on, they can't create businesses, jobs. They can't have their own homes. It just is. It's pretty crazy. But shoot me an email if you want to talk further. I'd love to chat with you on the. I'd love to chat with you about that. Sherry writes, do you have an example of a completed course as far as design components? Sherry, that completely varies depending upon the discipline. Engineering has a different set of criterion than does the social sciences. So if you shoot us an email in terms of wanting a design components from a particular discipline, then we'll find you one. We'll find you ones for that. Okay. But remember, each discipline is unique, and we want to respect people's creativity.
Faculty members can also post in the faculty orientation course on Canvas or the Oplerno instructors group, which will get updated soon to include everyone to open up to collaborations and sharing amongst the community. It doesn't have to be through us. You guys can connect directly, and even via Twitter or other Facebook group, whatever. So that opportunity to kind of cut us out and go directly across to each other is there too.
Okay, thanks, Dan. A follow-up comment in terms of the question is, when you have a policy or an idea or something that you'd like to put, throw it up on the wiki and find the proper section, and then take a look and make it a discussion point on the wiki, and and let's get discussion going there. Our real goal, over the next 3 to 6 months is also to create a much more interactive community, and the wiki and some of the other initiatives which we'll be announcing later are part of that. And also, again, as Dan Kirk said, using Canvas. It's a big, it's a great resource for us. Okay, got another question. Hi, this is Rebecca. Living at the San Diego-Tijuana border, I'm keenly aware of how much good education would mean to Mexicans. But even a fraction of the cost of $500 is too much if you're south of the border. But if a Mexican government saw the benefit of providing English language and entrepreneurial skills, then maybe the government would underwrite some courses. I think that's a great idea. I think you're right. We can't, sometimes when we're trying to create systemic change, we try to come up with the answer that fits all categories, and we can't do that. We're just going to start off, we're starting off small, and I think that with engaged faculty and creative people like yourself, we're going to be able to address the issues of access by potentially getting foundations or even governments involved, but in potentially supporting students. But that's going to take some time, and I don't want to wait before we're starting to launch and doing this work. Okay. Thanks, Jerry, for the comment. She said, if you're excited, we'll be excited. Yeah, this is great. I am very excited about the possibilities that we're talking about today, the questions people have been asking, and the possibility that Oplerno has to really shake up education in the next, in the next couple of decades, but also the impact we're going to have in that we've already had in just a short amount of time. So it's great. All right. Vermont offers funding for citizens to take 2 courses. Will Oplerno be able to accept that type of payment? You're right. Vermont offers high school students the ability to take a class, but if you read the regs, it is only state colleges or universities, I think, that have that ability. So we're out of luck because we're a private institution, and so we would accept that kind of payment, but I think we're not allowed to do so. Okay. Well, listen. Any final questions coming up? Okay. Chuck asks. Can you provide insight to your business plan, current costs, time to break even, time to reimburse instructors for expenses in course creation? Okay, Chuck, insight into the business plan. Okay, so there are a couple different goals that we have this year. The break even point, where we're able to pay everyone a good wage, the 3 of us, a wage, is having 100 courses and having 1,000 students take 1 class, and then we're able to fund our. We will actually make a slight profit. That's not a big nut to crack, especially since our development costs have been a lot lower. In addition, since we haven't accepted outside venture capital funding for this, our autonomy in terms of not having to launch products before they're ready or compromise on our ethical standards is that's worth a lot. So Oplerno is we're in this for the long term. We've got the ability to keep things going for quite a while until we start to grow. But I think we're going to be able to do that in the next, between now and January 1st. We're poised if faculty create the classes and the programs, You know, we're going to be able to recruit the students to fill that number. And 1,000. We're not talking 1,000 full-time students. Again, we're talking about 1,000 people who've taken one class or any combination thereof. That's not a huge task, and I think we're going to be able to make it. But you know, it's all going to depend upon getting the word out. Time to reimburse instructors for expenses in course creation. You know, we've talked about this a couple of different times. We're really looking at, we don't pay faculty to develop courses because you guys own the IP. But you know, I know that Chuck, with your classes, you've got some great, you know, you've got some expenses that you're incurring. We're not in a position right now to reimburse you for those expenses. But the sooner, you know, you have the sooner we're able to start, the sooner our recruitment is successful, the sooner you're going to have money coming in to make up for that. I would certainly hope that our time to break even is, in terms of operations, is, you know, is this year. I really want to see us make that. So that would be the quick answer to the question. Okay. All right. I think that's, I'm going to just check. Thanks, Michelle, for saying, hooray for standing strong against student loans. I'm glad to be done with teaching at any school that accepts loans. The bubble is about to explode. Absolutely, the bubble is about to explode. And it is very frightening that our institutions of higher learning do not understand that that once those federal interest rates start to rise, which they're going to do soon, it's going to place education. It's going to make education at traditional institutions of higher learning even more unaffordable for people. Hold on, my dog is barking to try to get in. I'll be right back.
So I guess I'll keep you entertained in the meantime. One of the portions of the. Oh, okay. Yeah, back to Rob. He's back in.
Okay, I'm back. All right. I think we're going to end it. We've been on for a little bit over an hour. And if you have more questions, let us know. Please remember that you're going to be getting an update on what we've been up to in the next week, sort of the monthly update. And shoot us with questions. Shoot questions to us. And you know, thank you all for tuning in. We're really excited about what's going on at Oplerno, and this institution's created for you. And you know, I'm having a ball, and I think everybody else is, in terms of what impact this is going to have on people's lives. So, talk with you later. And
I still have one more thing to mention.
Okay.
Down below in the description, I've put a link to the sign-in page. So if you of the sign-up page for the marketplace, if you create your account there, we'll link you to your Canvas accounts so that we can give your courses to you and set the course correct. Make sure that you've got the correct courses. And this is also for Chuck as well. So send it. Create your accounts. We'll link up with you and make sure that your courses are all set correctly. And enable two-factor authentication if you think that you need it. So.
Michelle had one final question, which is, you only have quiz as an option. Will test be an option too? That should be an option in the Canvas. In Canvas. I think it says quizzes, tests, or exams. So just go through and look at the help page. If you don't get the answer that you want, please shoot Dan Kirk a message, and we'll see what we can do to get that changed from Canvas. Okay. So listen, thank you guys very much. Thank you all for coming on this Thursday morning, noon, or night, depending on where you're at. And we'll see you online, and have a good week.
One final note, Rebecca and other people who are feeling the pain. We will have it at a better time for people on the east coast of the west coast next time. This is we're trying to find the right time to reach the maximum amount of people that we can. So we'll make sure that it's slightly more towards your morning rather than your night. Have a good day.
We'll be doing these. The next community meeting. Yeah, we'll be varying it so that everybody on the globe doesn't have to wake up early or hang out late to go to a meeting. All right. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.
Okay, and we're out. So have a good day, people.